Brothers, today we're going to be watching a segment of a live stream from Carolyn Borisenko, who apparently has infiltrated an Antifa meeting and is currently, right now, before we press pause, about to enter into a group of people that are going to admit some crazy and wild shit, including felonies that they've committed as it relates to Minnesota. That is absolutely madness. It's madness, but it's something that we know is going on. It seems like they finally have some sort of evidence. Let's see.
Welcoming
to
a police liaison and an art director and an organizing call.
All right, let's see.
But we do spy streams regularly, guys. So if you want to see inside real leftist trainings, hang out and come to spy stream and you will see what the left is doing in real time.
Interesting.
We knew that today in New York, at least, we can't be on the streets because there's a blizzard, but we know that there's an urgent need to respond to what's happening in Minneapolis and all across this country. So we're going to learn.
Oh my gosh, guys. We have to do something about what's going on, but we have to stay inside because there's a blizzard.
Expand the rights of migrant communities and standing up against Trump's fascist Gestapo. We all deserve a life of dignity and freedom, and that's what so many people are fighting for right now. I'm going to pass it on to my fellow co-chair, Grace, who is going to MC the call.
Hi, everyone. So good to be here with you. Very inspiring to see how many.
Oh, gosh.
So I will pass it right along to our first speaker. We're really excited to be welcoming Kai Johnson, who is an elected leader with Twin Cities DSA. He was born and raised on the south side of Minneapolis, and he's been doing tenant organizing and mutual aid in Minneapolis since 2022, and recently managed Aisha Juktai's successful city council campaign. But since the start of the ICE invasion, he's been organizing observers with Whipple Watch and patrols and dispatch for Southside Rapid Response. So we're really excited to hear from Kai to learn more about what's happening on the ground and how we can all best support. Kai, over to you.
Thank you, Grace. Hello, comrades. Thank you so much for having me here today. As Grace mentioned, I grew up on Southside Minneapolis, and I stand here today because I grew up with many of my Hmong, Hispanic, and Somali neighbors that have now families of their own and kids in school and college, and they're being targeted and terrorized by the fascist occupation force that has been in Minneapolis for the last over 50 days. They were born on the same streets I grew up in, and I think that growing up in these communities is what made me who I am today and made what makes Minneapolis such a special and important place for this fight we are taking nationally. We stand up every day because.
So let me just say, I think these people should be rounded up. I think they should be arrested. I think they should be interrogated. I think they should be forced to reveal where the payment networks are, who is funding this, where's the money going, where are the safe houses, where are the facilities to get the stuff. Dismantle this brick by brick, round these people up, interrogate them, get the information, find out where the networks are being orchestrated, find out the heads of this thing, and basically cut off the head of the snake. That's what you have to do if you want to defeat something like this.
Immigrant neighbors make the community better and deserve to make a home here. And in Minneapolis, we show up every day because no one is illegal on stolen land. Yesterday, blocks from where I live, Alex Preddy was murdered in broad daylight. What sticks with me the most is one of the first headlines I saw was that another observer was murdered by ICE. And the word another sticks out to me there. Renee Good was murdered just over 2 weeks ago in broad daylight. And the fact that we have more violence blatantly on our streets day after day is just, it's difficult to overcome, and we stand together as we heal and move forward from that trauma. But what we get every day is another child abducted, another neighbor taken from a bus stop, another legal observer that has been murdered. The atrocities occur daily, but more and more neighbors show up every single day.
Keep in mind, since September of 2025, there have been 12 shootings, according to NBC. There have been 12. 3 of them have been in Minneapolis. So, of the 12, 25% comes from Minneapolis. So this isn't something that happens every day. It's not something that's happening around the country. This guy is a mentally ill retard that is LARPing as a revolutionary. And I do think you should take these people seriously. Take them seriously. Round these people up. Find out these people. Use this broadcast. Drag these people out of their home. Interrogate them. Find out where their funding is going. And dismantle the whole fucking thing. These people are terrorists. These are not American citizens that are fighting for America. These are people that are actively fighting to dismantle America. And these people should be put in the fucking gulag, which is where they want to put everyone else.
This is not a new fight for many of my neighbors. My indigenous neighbors have educated me throughout this struggle that this is a generational fight for them. Fort Snelling, which is the same land that the Whipple building is on, where ICE has their regional headquarters, stands as a concentration camp and is a monument to the genocide of our indigenous neighbors. And we seek to not only kick ICE out of the Whipple building, but to dismantle Fort Snelling brick by brick because of what it says to our communities as a violent monument to atrocities that occurred for generations. What I think of also these days is that, you know, they say fascism is imperialism come home, that what we're experiencing in Minneapolis is the same kind of imperialist occupation that occurs globally. And we have stood in solidarity in struggle across the world, and now it's here today. And the letters and love and support that we receive not only nationally from comrades, but globally, it really keeps us going. It's quite heartening. I had an opportunity to read some of the love letters to Minneapolis the other day, and it's really what I needed in this struggle in these dark times.
I mean, this does sound like insurrection. This absolutely does sound like insurrection.
Like I said, ICE is the...
We should boycott every state and city that acts in rebellion from the federal government. See how they consider this conflict.
True. I agree. I think that would be a reasonable thing. Any state that decides to harbor these sort of terrorist criminals, illegals, yeah, they should have to pay a price. They shouldn't get any sort of federal funding at all.
Fargo, all across the state. And so the work that we do there that continues daily, we have people that show up daily to do this, is very important to keeping our neighbors safe, not only in our city, but across the state. Some of our local rapid response networks, these sprung up in the first weeks of the ICE occupation, and they have shown to be one of the most effective routes in preventing abduction of neighbors. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of community members on hyper-local chats. You might have seen some of them get leaked in the press recently. We have dispatch calls where there's neighbors who sit there and support patrollers as they do this intense work in our community, constantly being harassed and intimidated by ICE with threats of murder. Yes, threats of murder, but people still show up and do it every single day. And I just want to say for our chapter also, we've been taking our leaders and putting them out in the community in these rapid response networks. They've been taking on administrative roles, dispatch roles. Our leaders are leading the charge, and the local organizations here have taken note. And we have really, made TCDSA someone that people can rely on in the community. And I want to, continue that work. And I think that's what's most important here. And that's why we're raising money today. One of the reasons we're raising money is, this is last week we were raising money for whistles and Know Your Rights Lit costs. Now we're raising funds for respirators and goggles. I don't know what we'll need money for next week. Who's to say? But we're continuing to ask our workers and neighbors to fight. And we need money to keep people out on the streets fighting ICE. We need people to keep standing up. I know you saw hundreds of thousands of people left work last Friday. And we need money to keep them out there, to support them as they resist ICE on the street.
Guys, we're going to resist ICE. We're going to resist the people that are enforcing the laws. Because we want to dismantle the patriarchy. We want to dismantle the systemic oppressions. The Native Americans were conquered by the patriarchal white men. The Christians. We need to be fighting them. We're going to take them down brick by brick. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, these people are insane. You need to treat these people as the evil that they are. When you have somebody says, you're on conquered land, that is a brain dead bullshit line. You're on stolen land. No, we conquered it. It's ours now. It's never going back to them. It never can go back to them. The idea that, you're on conquered land, this is brain rot from these fucking freaks. And you should treat these people with the utmost contempt. And dismantle every one of these people in the harshest possible way.
Streets of Minneapolis and Twin Cities. Thank you, everyone, and fuck ICE.
Thank you, Kai. Really appreciate you taking
Guys, fuck ICE.
that with us in this incredibly stressful and horrifying moment. So, like Kai was saying, we're raising funds for Twin Cities DSA.
You guys, you're so racist. How can you people in walk this guy tactikaltemplar? This guy tactikaltemplar, how could you possibly watch him? Don't you know he's a fascist and a racist and a sexist? Oh my god, how could you watch this guy that's pro-America? Oh my god. You people, you're so bigoted. How dare you? How dare you watch this tactikaltemplar? Ladies and gentlemen, you do not hate these people enough. You don't. These people represent a fall. They represent evil. These are the type of people that, at every opportunity, they want to make things about themselves. They want to dismantle, just our country. These are enemies of America.
And this group are two organizations we're really focusing on. They need supplies, they need legal support, they need funds to keep people from being evicted, and so much more. So please do give what you can.
No.
Additionally, while you're doing that, take a moment. It really only takes a moment to email your representatives and demand they do everything in their power to fully defund and abolish ICE. And then finally, if you're not organized into DSA, now is a great time to do it. We're connected and committed to connecting people with work happening on the ground, both in New York and Minneapolis and everywhere in between. But now I'm thrilled to be able to pass it on and introduce Ari Grant Sassoon, who's a member of Twin Cities DSA, like Kai, and also a member of the Minneapolis Federation.
By the way, DSA is Democratic Socialists of America. These are a bunch of fucking LARPing commies.
Of educators.
These people should be in jail on the fact that they're communist alone.
Who can talk about some of the union actions that have been happening on the ground in Minneapolis. Ari, over to you. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Ari. I'm a special education assistant for Minneapolis Public Schools. I work with students with special needs in a K through 5 elementary school here in the city. So I'll talk a little bit about what has happened the past couple of days and then kind of get into some of the school stuff at the end. Friday, I'm sure you all heard, was a really massive mobilization. I think it's estimated 50 to 100,000 people. I saw was the estimate march downtown. And it was negative 10 degrees outside, guys. I don't know what else to say. It was cold as fuck.
Oh my gosh.
Wore everything I had. It was inspiring. It was a great action. And in downtown, it's cold. It's like those buildings are wind tunnels. There is no sun. It's shady. So it's cold, be cool. So that's been really inspiring too. So again, thanks for having us. Thanks for the support and solidarity from Minneapolis.
Thank you so much, Ari, and thank you for everything you're doing and risking by being on the ground and organizing with other people there, and for those who can't. So while I have the mic, I do want to say, just if you haven't clicked on a link yet,
Begging for money. Begging. Guys, I see that you in chat haven't donated yet. I've asked you like 10 times. You haven't donated yet. Just a reminder, if you could, click on the link and donate some more money. Oh, by the way, guys, you haven't donated yet. I see that there's no donations. Could you shut the fuck up, you disgusting witch. You're begging for money. No. The government should take every cent you have away. They should take you away. Put you in handcuffs. Take you away. You're ridiculous. Guys, please give me more of your money. Guys, $5. Guys, you don't have $5 to fund terrorism? Guys? You guys don't have $5 to fund our terrorist little LARP? Get the fuck out of here, you nasty hag. Begging for money. Damn, this chick begs for money more than the quartering. At least the quartering has the decency to spend it like 5 minutes before begging again. This woman literally let this guy talk and then put up the thing for donations.
if you haven't donated, if you haven't committed to getting involved in an organization, to joining DSA, if you haven't written your senators and representatives, like, I don't know what to tell you. Now is the time. And people are doing it in mass. I literally just learned that we've actually raised $12,000 from the Act Blue, splitting between Twin Cities DSA and the Renters Justice Group. So let's raise 15 on that.
Oh, so Act Blue, huh?
Because it's an organized war, they all lose Bill of Rights protections. Combatants lose 1,2,4,5 th amendment protections that can be arrested right now without trial until this war is over.
True. Thank you for the donation, Renal MD. Yeah. Oh, Renal MD donated $10. Renal MD, why don't you? Did you know that you could donate again? Renal MD, you could donate to my terrorist cause right now. Like, I swear to goodness, these people are so shameless and so pathetic. And like, this for them is just such a LARP. It's such a ridiculous LARP. You know, I know what you're thinking. Is that AI? No, that is just my Jewish voice. That is my Jewish terrorist voice. It's a combination. Oh, hey, my friends. Oh man, we got a donation, and then, oh my God, can you believe that we are getting this? Like, these people are crazy. Tactical Templars devolving into DSP. No, brother, no. If I were turning into DSP, we'd be doing a 2-hour live stream where every minute I'd be begging for money. Please, guys, please. Guys, we haven't reached the $150 goal. That is on all of you. If you don't, guys, if you don't donate money right now, I am going to take away the Bible verses. That's right. If you don't donate right now, I'm taking away the Bible verses. And you know what? You haven't donated. I'm taking away the bottom tab. You guys don't get that either. You haven't donated to me. Oh God. Yeah. No. We're not DSP. Trust me. But you set the big timer to 120 seconds. Yeah. No, DSP goes, guys, you know what? You've lost that. You haven't donated enough. You know what? I put all this effort into this avatar. You're losing that. You know what? You guys don't even deserve to have the picture on screen. That's all you're getting. That's yeah. Oh, my friends. I have the best audience. I do. I really do have the best audience. Yeah, but yeah. That's begging for more money.
On the call, like I didn't think we were gonna get this high. So what's 3,000 more? Now is the time to really commit yourself even more to fighting fascism and committing to the idea that socialism will beat fascism. So now I'm really excited to welcome on Harper Stanfield, who is the New York Vice President of AFG Local 3911. Some of you may know that the observer who was murdered yesterday was also an AFG member. Harper is a federal worker at the Environmental Protection Agency and a member of the Federal Unionist Network Organizing Committee in New York City.
Find who this person is and fire them.
He organizes with Fund NYC to build stronger federal unions and to protect federal services. So Harper, over to you.
Thank you, Grace. I'll lead.
Find who this person is. If you are the federal government, find who this person is and fire them.
With the obvious that my views here don't reflect that of the Environmental Protection Agency. Now that I've got that out of the way.
Find who this person is in the federal government and fire them.
I want to talk about Alex. He was a federal worker. He was a union brother of mine. He was a dedicated public servant. The Corps, both in the hospital and on the streets of Minneapolis. They executed him on those streets. I hope for federal unionists around the country in saying that all of us are grieving and we're broken, but we are picking back up. We're picking each other up and we're getting organized. Federal Unionist Network is uniting federal workers, federal union members, and their allies to protect the American public and the services that the American public depends on. To be clear, Immigration and Customs Enforcement is not one of those services. Its agents are rogue, corrupt workers who have no place in the bureaucracy. Trump administration is wielding law enforcement as a cudgel against the most vulnerable members of the labor force. And I believe that federal workers have to stand together to protect families and neighbors. And federal unionists in New York City have been mobilizing for a year now to push back against ICE. It's those early days of 2025 when they started arresting immigrants in lobbies and buildings. That violence has now spread into the streets and into cities around the country, and we have to put it into it. Fortunately, ICE and CBP have some of the highest union participation rates of any agency, and it makes sense, right? They need those unions to protect them from the consequences of their violence. I encourage anyone to go read it, but the Border Patrol Union put out a horrific statement about Alex Pretty's murder, and they will do their
based. Yeah, fuck around and find out.
They're all to protect their agents from any consequences. They flaunt that immunity as they abduct and slaughter. Continue. In my union local, we've been organizing our members to pressure elected representatives to defund ICE, to halt this continuing resolution, recognizing that may shut the government down temporarily. It's federal workers are making that calculus for themselves and hopefully deciding that it's worth it. The comrades in FUN and the Federal Unionist Network in New York City are digging into the history of ICE and CVP unionism to understand they've been kicked out in the past. It's happened. It's complicated. It's going to be a long campaign, but we will persist. This Thursday, federal workers are uniting in Manhattan at a vigil for Alex Preddy outside of the Manhattan VA, outside of the little building where his Abby and Neisna union siblings work every day, doing the work that he cared about. We'll be there at 5 p.m. to stand in solidarity with all who loved him and his union siblings at the VA, with the Minneapolis community. And we will continue also to stand with the striking New York City Nurses Association nurses who were fighting for a fair contract to ensure safety for them and their patients. We're going to continue standing with Minneapolis as they show up every day, fight for their families and their neighbors and their communities. Hope that I will see you all on Thursday at the vigil. Thank you. I'm going to pass it back now to Gustavo. Take us away.
Thank you, Harper. So if you're joining us from New York City, Harper's Union is organizing a vigil this Thursday at 5 p.m. outside the Manhattan VA Hospital. And the link to sign up for the vigil is going to be in the chat. I know we have over 1,000 streamers joining, and we have 1,000 here in the Zoom. So we will be dropping links in both chats. And our other calls to action are for you to use our letter tool to write to your representatives to demand no funding for ICE and to donate to organizations on the ground, Twin Cities DSA and Inquilinos Unidos por Justicia, United Renters for Justice. We're going to hear next from Sean Petty, who is an RN, a member of the New York State Nurses Association, and works at the Pediatric Emergency Department at Jacobi Hospital in the Bronx.
Thanks, everybody. So there's about 1.5 feet of snow on the ground here in New York City. And if you're a nurse scheduled for today, you came to work with an overnight bag because you're staying at the hospital. That's the bad part about blizzard days, the sleeping in uncomfortable cots, the 4-hour breaks and the 12-hour shifts. But the good side is that it tends to be a slower day on the units, and there's some time for discussions. And true to form, when I first walked in, the first, as has been happening for the last couple of weeks, get bombarded and peppered with questions about the latest on the strikes here in the nurses' strike here in New York City of our brothers and sisters in the private sector. We talked about the entrenchment of the CEOs and the depth of the greed that they're revealing to New York City right now by spending hundreds of millions of dollars on scab labor going into a third week. This is the 14th day of the strike where nurses have been without pay. Many have been cut off from health insurance. The irony of that being apparent to many. And we talked about the sacrifice that the nurses are making and why they're making that sacrifice. This is not an economic calculation for them. This is about much, much bigger dynamics. And then it obviously raises these big questions of power and, how we are wielding it, but how the bosses are wielding it as well. And how we have to figure out, how to level up in the upcoming week. But after, that kind of settled down, the conversation obviously turned very quickly to what happened to Alex. and what people knew about it. And, I think enough has gone around to where people were really aware of the fact that this was just a cold-blooded murder of a nurse.
Yeah, it wasn't a cold-blooded murder of a nurse, but keep in mind, he's talking about New York. The people that were retarded enough to elect Zoran Mamdani. So, yeah, don't really put much stock into what they think.
Who has seen someone in harm and trying to do something about it, basically being a nurse, which is what most of us, do daily in our jobs, and often outside of our jobs as well. And he was murdered for it. And it was very difficult for us to get our heads around, how we could really engage with any sort of process of how to stop this rogue gang of executioners walking around with face masks.
Oh, I've got an idea. You fucking retard. How about not, well, first of all, you're agitators. You are actively looking for ICE to engage with you so that you can use it as an opportunity to fundraise. Um, how about this? When you go to your little anti-ICE bullshit groups, and you go out there and you try to impede, how about you don't impede? How about you don't impede ICE? You don't get in their way. You don't stand in their way. How about you stop blowing your fucking whistles? How about you get out of their way? Let them do their job. And if you want to protest, then protest. If you want to film them, then you can film them, but do it at a safe distance. Don't get in their way. Don't tackle them. Don't bring guns to this thing and then fight with law enforcement. By the way, important, don't try to run them over with your car, you fucking bald retard. Hey, if you do all that, you know what? Amazingly, these so-called executioners are not going to execute you. It's amazing. If you don't get in their way and you don't attack them and you aren't a threat to them doing their job, you're going to be fine. Amazing, huh?
And federal badges. It truly kind of puts the stakes of what we're up against in stark relief when it's a very topsy-turvy moment, right? You get, 2 weeks of a strike, you feel incredibly confident, but yet, you're being stonewalled by your bosses. You see this incredible day of action in Minnesota on Friday, and then the very next day, a cold-blooded killing. And it just does feel like the last 2 weeks between New York and Minnesota have really compressed and brought to the fore, these large forces, these large dynamics, and really crystallizing them for hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people. Because of course the strike is a direct result of a shattered healthcare system. Skyrocketing healthcare costs are the driving force behind this strike. The maintenance of a for-profit healthcare system at the expense of patients, at the expense of workers. The health insurance for nurses is the signature issue of this strike, and what's compelling both sides to dig in. And of course, this has been exacerbated by the big billionaire bill passed over the summer, blowing a $15 billion hole in New York State's Medicaid budget, and also causing a massive inflationary spiral with healthcare costs. And so it's bringing these dynamics to the head, and it's making.
Yeah, not going to blame your local Democrat politicians, not going to blame Obamacare. No, you're going to blame it all on this one bill. You disingenuous retards are so embarrassing. You are so embarrassing. You are the root cause of all these problems, and then you try to blame it on everyone else because you don't have the ability to just take responsibility.
This fight that we have in New York State to tax the rich to the tune of $20 billion. That's what we need to make New York City affordable and to save our healthcare systems. But
do you know what happens if you start to tax the rich in this sort of insane way? You don't get more money. Do you know what you do? You get these companies to leave. You bald retard. There's a reason why you're a nurse and not a doctor. The fact is, you are so stupid that you cause all of your own problems and then blame on other people.
And that's also, putting us on a collision course with Governor Hochul, who, by the way, is completely on the side of the hospital bosses. So, I think, that sort of dynamic of how these power dynamics are being revealed to people and how who's on what side when you go into these fights and how that sharpens things, I think can be underestimated. And the public couldn't be more with the strike. This is just despite massive propaganda and massive amounts of unfact-checked media coverage of that propaganda about nurses being greedy, nurses asking for too much.
Healthcare costs more because of lazy nurses who LARP during work hours instead of taking care of patients. I am reporting him to the state board.
Oh my gosh. So, New York Renal MD, who is an MD, is going to report this guy. Brother, you're out there doing God's work. Amazing. Yeah. Find out this guy's name and report him. I'm so glad you're here. Report this asshole. 100%. This lazy fucker. It's part of this communist revolution. Getting paid on the hospital's dime to do this propaganda bullshit.
Public has not heard any of it. I think that might have something to do with coming fresh off of electing a socialist mayor and spending the last year understanding a little bit more about wealth inequality in this city. So that's, but the CEOs, even with that, they're trying to make an example out of us. And that's why this fight has come to a fever pitch. And I think that's where the parallel with Minnesota actually kind of comes together the most, because at a much grander scale, Trump and ICE are trying to make an example.
So the guy's name is Sean Petty, Petty. Sean Petty.
Example out of Minnesota. If we understand this to be an authoritarian maneuver, we understand that Minnesota has been a leading light for the left and for and in terms of community and labor alignment, in terms of developing large scale organizing to fight, and Trump sees that as something that needs to be crushed. So on one hand, you have Trump, you have the billionaires, you have the CEOs of hospitals who might be personally liberals, but certainly are part and parcel of the overall Trump agenda, as is Hochul, who is aiding and abetting the same forces that are working against us. So, I think, I guess to wrap up, we did a little bit of an action on Friday at my hospital, which is a public sector hospital. We marched from our hospital to the picket line, and it really did, I think, help change some of the dynamics in my workplace in terms of getting people out of some of the more narrow focused things and really open up, their hearts and their minds to what solidarity feels like and looks like, and participate in this fight that has captured the city's imagination for the last 2 weeks. And I think it will make us that much more prepared for when we have to fight Hochul, when ICE comes to our city, and when when we also have to confront these strategic questions about how do we elevate and coordinate amongst larger allies to actually win these fights, not just start them. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of this discussion because the stakes are getting very high for us. And the way we answer the strategic and political questions of this moment is going to take things in one direction or another. And it's not a guarantee that it's going to go well. But I think we're showing that we're in a place where we can make a massive amount of difference if we're willing to do what is necessary to level up our power.
Thank you for that, Sean. Okay, I want to shout out all of our co-sponsoring organizations before we continue, starting with the Democratic Socialists of America nationally in Twin Cities, New York City. We've got Jewish Voice for Peace Action, Drumbeats from New York, Justice Democrats, UAW Region 9A, and the Federal Unionist Network. Thank you so much.
Guys, give me money. More money. Give me more money. Guys, money. Money, money, money. Give me more money. You just heard this retard speak. Give me money. This is the third time they've done this. This is gratuitous. This is even more than the quartering. Yeah, she's saying not Soros funded.
Our struggles.
Yeah, my struggle, Mein Kampf.
So we've got a QR code up on the screen for you to support the nurses in New York City with their contract. Up next, I'm really proud to introduce one of our congressional candidates. We know that in this country, there has to be consequences for the people who are responsible for the occupation that is happening in Minneapolis and everywhere in the US. And that's not just the Republicans who are directly responsible, but it is also many of the corporate Democrats who are allowing it to happen. So up next, we have Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier, who is a working class Afro-Latina and a DSA endorsed candidate for New York's 13th congressional district.
Oh, God.
She is a public defense investigator at the Neighborhood Defenders Services of Harlem. She's organized against mass incarceration for Palestinian liberation.
Oh. Oh, what happened? What happened?
He's frozen. It's not the rest of the Zoom, it's him. Pretty sure.
Oh.
Unfortunately, Gustavo's computer crashed. So Daria Lisa, jump in.
His computer crashed. Oh man, God is not without a sense of humor.
So I'm so sorry. I couldn't tell if mine crashed or his crashed.
Yeah, I also was.
God. Do not ever let somebody that looks like this into a position of power. Do not ever let somebody like this into a position of power. Do not do it. You will regret it every time, no matter where you are.
Very confused.
Sorry, I thought I lost Wi-Fi. Darlitza, I'll take over. We're so excited to have you. But please do begin speaking.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate you all having me. And and also I'm going to apologize in advance. My radiator is very loud, so I'll try to speak up. But I'm honored to be able to share this space with you all. Even though I am incredibly heartbroken for the reason that this call needed to be organized to begin with. The last few days have really reminded me in a very visceral way of why I became an organizer. When Trayvon Martin was killed and his killer was acquitted, I was 18 and I was visiting friends in Tallahassee, Florida, on break from college. And I remember hearing about plans for a protest at the Florida State Capitol building. And when I got there, I witnessed organizers occupying the building as part of a demand for justice and for systemic change. And there were many seasoned organizers there that day, but for me, that was my introduction to what it can mean to organize, what it can mean to stand in solidarity, to work in community, to come together, to fight back against injustice, and to fight back against despair. How I felt that day witnessing a community come together, turn their grief into solidarity to demand change, is something that has lived inside me in every organizing space I've been part of in the near decade and a half since. And, over the years, I've joined various movements for social justice that have called for an end to mass incarceration, for the liberation of Palestine, for immigration justice. And it really is working together with, my fellow New Yorkers and my friends and organizers and comrades, organizing campaigns to demand divestment from Israeli apartheid, to free people from ICE detention, to combat mass incarceration. To me, this moment highlights the importance of combating all of these things, because it was mass incarceration that gave us the rise to ICE detention centers. It was the criminalization of migrants that made ICE the force that it is today. And it was the demonization of pro-Palestine protesters that paved the way for the kidnappings and murders that we're seeing on the streets in our cities today. Each of these struggles are interconnected, and this moment demands that we come together as one to fight back against fascism and the regime that's weaponizing them all. And we all know the solution. The solution is very simple. We have to abolish ICE. But I say all this to say that in my organizing, I've learned two things, both of which have been very beautifully articulated by Miriam Kaba. And the first is that nothing that we do that is worthwhile is done alone. And the second is that hope is a discipline. And I'm feeling both of those deeply tonight, seeing so many of you here. We come to calls like this not necessarily despite the despair that I know that all of us feel today, but because of it, right? It was because of our grief that compels us to action, not just to honor the memory of Alex Preddy or Renee Nicole Good or Keith Porter Jr. Or the over 37 people who've been killed by ICE or CBP or DHS in just this year alone, but also to prevent more families from feeling this type of despair. It's also, to fight back against the fascist cruelty that took their lives in the first place. And because our grief compels us to do so, to come together, to mourn together, to seek comfort together, and to take action together. And it's, through coming together that we know that we are growing our capacity to resist this terror, to resist this fascist regime that is trying to break us in this moment. And we know, and they know, that every time that we gather, every time that we organize, more of us show up. More of us are the 18-year-old version of me who showed up at a random action and got inspired to organize. Every march, every direct action, every call, every act of civil disobedience, our ability to fight back against this regime grows. And, this terror did not begin overnight. And as much as we wish it would, it won't end overnight either. But there is a path out of this darkness, and it's a path that we can only walk if we walk it together. It's the solidarity, the organizing, the collective action that each of us has been taking that will get us to the world that we're building and the world that we all deserve. So, I'm so grateful to be building this world with all of you. And for those of you who haven't already joined DSA, please join DSA. Now is the perfect time to join us in this fight and, sign up as a member, attend a meeting, help us elect the leaders that, want to abolish ICE for good. And thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you, Darlisa. Appreciate all the work you're doing and running for Congress. So speaking of that, we've already talked about how important it is to tell our senators, our representatives to abolish ICE. They are not meeting the moment. Like, they cannot be meeting the moment any less. So in addition to demanding action from them now, we know that we need better representatives in Congress in the future, and we need them as soon as possible. So we are asking that people who have any extra money after the incredible donations we've been making to groups on the ground in Minneapolis, if they can use that to power socialist representatives to Congress. Not only Darlita, but also our next guest, who I will introduce now. So really excited to invite my comrade and friend, Assemblymember Claire Valdez, to join us next. As many of you may know, she's a union organizer, an artist, and the Democratic Socialist. She has worked low-wage customer service jobs throughout high school and college. once she landed at Columbia University, she didn't just settle into that work, but she joined UAW Local 2110 and was elected as a bargaining committee leader and has since organized to democratize her union. In addition to being a union leader, she's a longtime leader in New York City DSA. She now serves in the state assembly, where she has fought to tax the rich, to protect tenants, and to empower working people. And now she's bringing that fight not only to her congressional race, but also to the fight against the fascist and ICE invasion that we're seeing in so many of our cities. Claire, welcome.
Hi, comrades. Thank you all for joining. It's really amazing to see so many people turn out on really short notice, but I think what we're
Comrade, hey, friends. I'm surprised I didn't put up the donation link again. Comrade, friends, we are here to call for the downfall of the American Empire, comrade. Yes, we will get those capitalist pigs. I mean, these people really are the most pathetic and just embarrassing human beings on the planet. It is genuinely shocking to watch these people operate.
seeing and the energy that's here and the folks who are live streaming on YouTube is that there's deep heartbreak and deep anger and deep need to be mobilizing together in the face of this fascist administration. Grace already gave you the spiel, but before I was in the assembly, I was a member of UAW Local 2110. I found power in my union, safety in my union, and real solidarity in my union. And what we know is happening right now is that ICE is going after undocumented workers precisely because they think that they can do it. They think they can get away with it. It's the brutality and cruelty towards the workers who are trying to provide a life for themselves and their families in New York City and Minneapolis, all over the country. The people who are the ones who are making food for us, who are delivering food for us, who are working in kitchens, who are building new housing, who clean people's homes, who look after other people's children. These are the workers who already face immense exploitation because they're thought of as replaceable, because when they try to organize together, they're threatened with deportation because they don't have the status that other workers have. It's always been true that no one is safe until all of us are safe. And that fact is being laid bare in front of us right now. We all witnessed the murder of Alex Preddy, an AFG union nurse who was not undocumented, who was a white man, who worked at his local VA in the ICU, and who was murdered, executed in broad daylight on film, surrounded by witnesses. No one is safe from ICE and this fascist administration. And so it's incumbent on all of us to organize together to keep each other safe. ICE went after Alex because he was standing up for his neighbors and showing solidarity. Alex was doing exactly what millions of union members do every single day in this country. They stand up and they fight for the person next to them because we know that our power is in our numbers and that solidarity is our strength. We know that this is the only way that we can fight back. Standing up for our neighbors, showing solidarity, showing up, putting ourselves on the line. And Alex, what is so heartbreaking about this, about Alex's murder, about Nicole Good's murder, is that they were doing exactly what so many of us have been called to do, to bear witness, to record, to jump in front of our neighbors. And that's exactly what this moment demands. And it's incredibly scary now for us to be trying to show that kind of solidarity. But that's exactly where our power lies. The day before Alex was murdered, we saw thousands and thousands of people take to the streets in the Twin Cities in the largest general strike in a generation. I know many New Yorkers on this call were also in the street in solidarity on Friday. It was a powerful collaboration between labor unions and community organizations and faith groups and just everyday people who are angry at what their government is doing. In New York, we had unions from UAW and 1199 and DC 37. The labor movement showed up. What we saw is that people are looking for an outlet right now to get involved, to find place to house their grief, to house their anger. What we need now more than ever is a strong and vibrant labor movement. And it's a real honor to be sharing this space with so many union members and union nurses and FG members who are already doing this organizing in the Twin Cities, in solidarity to my union siblings there who are weathering the storm right now with immense bravery, courage, and resilience. If you haven't yet donated, please donate. I know that we're breaking the records here on this call. $30,000 raised. It's amazing. That money is going to go to help make sure that our neighbors, our siblings out in Minneapolis can stay on the street, can stay warm, can stay fed, can stay in their homes. So if you haven't yet donated, please donate. If you haven't joined DSA, consider doing it tonight. I joined DSA in 2019 because I saw power in this movement. And as ICE comes to our doorsteps all over the country, we need to be organized together to fight back. We need to be able to send champions like Daria Lisa to Congress, like myself to Congress, so we can abolish ICE once and for all. This agency has no place in American society, and it has to be abolished. I want to say solidarity to our comrades in Minneapolis, sending lots and lots of love from New York. We're with you every step of the way.
Thank you, Claire. You heard her. It's time to abolish ICE. It's time for new leadership in Congress. We can't wait any longer. Speaking of new leaders, I'm now going to bring on Abir Kawas, who is a community organizer and a Democratic Socialist running to represent parts of Northern Queens. She's the daughter of Palestinian refugees and was born and raised in New York City. When she was young, her father was detained by ICE and deported from the US by the same immigration system that's currently harming people all over the country today. While he was in detention, her family really struggled to make ends meet. And these experiences shaped how she sees the world and shaped what she is fighting and organizing for today. So I will pass it over to hear directly from Abir. And Abir, really quickly, we're running a bit short on time. We are very excited to hear from you. But if you can keep that in mind as you speak, that would be great.
Sure. Thank you all. Thank you, Grace. And it's an honor to be on here with all of you. And
what is Frogan doing here? Frogan jump scare? What is happening? Guys, did you expect to see Frogan? Hijabba the Hutt herself? Wow, what a special guest appearance. What a special guest appearance from Hijabba the Hutt.
And have a chance for us as those in New York City to be part of the movement and the struggle that's happening in Minneapolis. Like Grace said, my name is Abir Kawas. I am running for Assembly in District 34. And it's a district that is like extremely multicultural and impacted by ICE and where there are immigrants that are living in fear of ICE every single day. And today I want to talk to you very specifically about the human impact of these ICE raids and what we can do on a local level. So as some of our speakers have said, we know that ICE existing is a multi-generational issue. It has been here in multiple iterations, whether that is displacing Indigenous peoples from their homes, whether that is the slave patrols coming after slaves, and generations of workers and people who have been terrorized by agents who live to exceptionalize who gets to be part of this country. And in my own experience, I'm someone who grew up in the post 9/11 era, and that is actually where ICE was actually institutionalized in 2003. You know, like where it was built by the home.
Oh, you mean when a bunch of Muslims flew planes into the World Trade Center? Yeah, you thought we forgot about that? No, we didn't forget about that.
Into the Homeland Security Department. And now we're actually seeing the institution turned into like a mercenary army, and it's extremely frightening. At that time, in the post 9/11 era, my parents were both undocumented. And I remember my parents speaking about what to do should they leave the country.
So your parents were illegals? Your parents were in the country illegally? And you're framing the story like, well, my parents are really concerned. What do they do? Do they leave the country or not? Yeah, they're in the country illegally. They're not supposed to be here. They're illegals. Yeah. Honestly, you should be deported too, based on the story.
Country, where should they hide if an ICE agent comes to the home? What do they do with us, their children?
Maybe go the fuck home. You're not wanted here. You're not welcome here. You're on stolen land. You are on stolen land. You are not supposed to be here. You're an illegal.
Who were born here in the United States, do we go with them overseas? Do we stay? Where do we stay? And these were real conversations that my family was having, that I know families are having every single day, living in fear. And I lived that impact when my father was detained by ICE, held in ICE detention for 3 years, and then deported. And now my family has lived in family separation for almost 18 years now, where we've gone from
So let me get this straight. Your parents broke our laws. ICE found them and detained them. And you want to put it on ICE that ICE is the problem. No. Your scumbag parents. And by the way, you look like you've been eating well. So, good on us for feeding you. The fact is, you and your scumbag parents were illegally in the country. You were not welcome here. You broke our laws. And now you want to put up with this entitlement act where, guys, we need to stop ICE from finding other people like my parents. No, we need to find more people like your parents and get them the fuck out of the country. And we also need to get rid of birthright citizenship. Just because somebody has a kid here doesn't mean the kid is an American citizen.
The point where my father has missed his own children's birthdays and graduations and so many family memories, and now he's missing his own grandchildren's birthdays and graduations and family memories. So I really want to talk about how this has been a multi-generational attack in our communities, and the impacts are also multi-generational. When I look at the image of Liam Conejo Ramos, who, the young boy wearing the little blue hat, who was taken by ICE in Minneapolis in order to attract his parents out to be captured. I just imagine myself as a young child, my siblings. I imagine all of the other children who were sitting in waiting rooms in prisons waiting to see their parents as well. And this is something that I want to bring to local politics and as a local issue, because when ICE attacks a family, when ICE takes someone, when ICE detains someone, when ICE deports someone, it terrorizes an entire neighborhood ecosystem. It terrorizes the family and everybody who lives around them.
Good. Good. No, if you're an illegal, you should be terrorized. You're going home. You're going home. You and your colony of illegals are going to be rooted out of house and home. And because we're so benevolent, we're so merciful, we're going to send you home by plane. Goodbye. We're not even going to charge you for all the time that you've been here. We should start putting a tab.
And those impacts live with people, and they are economic impacts. They are mental health impacts. They impact their education. They impact public health. ICE existing and ICE attacking our communities is something that affects us on every single level and affects our neighbors, our community.
Get these people out of the country. Non-negotiable. Get them out.
And it will be something that affects us 10 years from now, 20 years from now, as it has affected us decades before. And we really need to look at this fight as a holistic fight, an intergenerational fight that we are now part of. Now, I want to just say that, speaking to that, what can we do to resist this? We are calling for abolishing ICE. And, I'm speaking from someone who's running for local government, because I really believe that what we also need to do, in addition to fighting ICE, is talking about not just what we're fighting against, but what we're fighting for. So I'm calling all of you to join our campaigns to tax the rich, our campaigns to fight for free universal childcare, for fast and free buses. Because when we talk about universal childcare, I picture a woman who is actually needs someone to take care of her children while she goes and visits her partner in a detention center. You know, I picture, when I think about fast and free buses, I think about how we had to take one bus, 2 trains, and 3 buses in New Jersey to visit my father in a detention center. You know, these things that we are fighting for to make people's lives more dignified are going to especially impact the most marginalized communities. And when we fight for marginalized communities to have full and dignified.
So this fat terrorist retard that was in the country illegally, she wants to fight for people that are not supposed to be here. She doesn't stand for America's values. She doesn't stand for this country. She doesn't respect the rule of law. People like this, they need to be rounded up and gotten out of the country. They don't belong here. They don't deserve to be here. They're not American. They're not American by the fact that they don't want to integrate. They're always talking about, oh, well, my parents were illegals and I want to make things easier for illegals. No, you should be making things easier for American citizens. These are the natural born people here. And you know what? You don't deserve to be here. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to find you. We're going to round you up. We're going to send you home. Gently, delicately. We're going to put you on a cargo plane. We're not even going to launch you in a catapult. We're going to put you on a cargo plane. We're going to send you home. That way you get to go be with your dad. You get to go be with your dad. It'll be great. And by the way, we'll send your whole family on our dime. That's how nice we are. But you're never going to be elected. And you need to go home.
Dignified, wholesome lives, then we are actually taking away from the dehumanization that our communities face every single day. So I want you all to be part of the movements, the movement to tax the rich, all of the campaigns that we are fighting for, the affordability agenda that we're fighting for. Join New York City DSA, door knock, be part of what we're doing. And lastly, I want to say that I really believe that this is the moment where we need to be supporting socialist candidates. And the reason that I'm saying that is because we have an administration right now that is empowering mercenaries to go in and attack our communities. And we have an administration right now who dehumanizes our communities. They speak about President Trump said the Somali community in Minneapolis is garbage, verbatim. Just was able to say this. And so when we are coming in and we are trying to fight for a different kind of politic, a left politic, a socialist politic, we should be unapologetic in that fight. We are not fringe. And when we are actually trying to create a new political system to approach politics in a different way, we are fighting against this fascism, because fascism is actually approaching politics in a different way. It's approaching politics in the most violent way possible, and we need to approach our politics in the most human way possible. We need to fight for socialist politics. It's something that people want. It's something that the thousands on the streets are calling for. And us being part of this movement is us building the beautiful, dignified world that is wholesome for us and all of the immigrant communities that we are part of, that we come from, and that we build with. So thank you all for having me today, and much love to those in Minnesota. We are with you. We are one. And we're really looking forward to building this movement and abolishing ICE and building a beautiful, beautiful life for all of us together.
Thank you, Apir. She has summed up so well why it's so important to fight for socialist organizers at every level of government.
Guys, it's time for donations. Time for donations, guys. You know, this is like the 5th time. Make sure you give us that money for the communist cause. This is insane. This is absolutely bonkers. Batshit crazy. Listen to what these people want. Listen to what they're saying. And these people, they want to abolish ICE. We need 10 times the ICE agents. We need 10 times the ICE agents. They need more funding. They need to go into more places. If people are here illegally, they need to be routed. You got to donate for more Tactical Templar tampons. You know it, brother. You got to get those tampons made from the finest cotton, guys. No one's ever seen cotton like this. You'd be like, wow, look at this cotton. picked by genuine black people in the South. Yeah. So I mean, this whole thing is absurd. It's a theater of the absurd. These people need, not should, need to be dealt with. Law enforcement needs to come in and arrest these people. It's crazy.
I'm about to pass it on to a key organizer in New York City DSA's immigrant justice work. They are fighting for state level bills that include New York for All, that would make New York a sanctuary state, dignity, not detentions, that would severely handicap ICE's ability to use.
Defund every state. Every state. Defund every state that has a sanctuary city.
Jails as detention facilities. And this type of work is the bread and butter of DSA, and it happens often in the background. It happens over time until it explodes, so we can capitalize on moments like this. So I'm really excited to bring on a critical organizer for DSA and in this work. Felicia Arriaga is a bilingual Latina organizer. She's a professor and an organizer and has worked on many different efforts to tackle the intersections between ICE and
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Here we go.
and law enforcement, and her book Behind Crimmigration, ICE Law Enforcement and Resistance in America covers these topics. She's also on the organizing committee for New York City DSA's Immigrant Justice Working Group, where she focuses on legislative efforts and also our Court Watch program. So she's going to tell you more about what they're doing, including some of our incredible Know Your Rights trainings and so much more that this working group is holding down. Felicia, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. And I really just appreciate Abir's words. One of the things that we have been able to do with the working group is to connect with folks who are in detention across New York State and in other places across the country. But we've also been able to support them down at immigration court. If you've never been, this is a call for you all to join us there to support our neighbors in one of the more challenging times of their lives. The terror that we talk about when we talk about ICE in the streets, ICE is at immigration court every single week. And unfortunately, they're also there terrorizing our community members. So these are ways that you can join us here in New York City in supporting our neighbors who, unfortunately, if they are kidnapped there, are being brought to other places in New York City or across New York, out in Western New York and Batavia. Where they're far, far away from their family members and their friends. They're being taken to New Jersey, and they're being taken to other places across the country where it's really hard for them to get any kind of support. I also just want to close by letting folks know, too, that I would like us to also lift up and remember the lives of a few others who have been taken by this deportation regime. Keith Porter Jr. was mentioned earlier, who was shot on December 31st as he was celebrating New Year's Eve. The recent death of Geraldo Lunas Campos, who died in ICE custody in Texas, but was actually picked up in Western New York back in July in one of these field raids that was happening there. And lastly, but not least, Santos Reyes Banegas.
The field raids, by the way, that had those children laborers. Yeah.
Who died in the Nassau County Jail last year, who was held there because of a local ICE agreement, the type that has been exploding across the country. And we know that these deaths and the countless ones that occur at the border would not have happened if we abolished ICE
and Customs and Border Patrol, and instead, like many of my comrades have mentioned, invested in our communities.
That's never going to happen. But I'll tell you what we will do. We will round up the criminal illegal aliens and we'll send them home. That's what we're going to do. And anyone who gets in the way of that, those people will be arrested too. We'll dismantle your networks. We'll come after you. And we'll make your life as unpleasant as possible because you are aiding and abetting criminals.
This last death of Santos could also have been prevented with state-level legislation that our SIOs have introduced and pushed for in New York State, and that our members are engaging with to this day and in this moment to pass New York for All and Dignity Not Detention. So our fight is multifaceted, but I know that together we are able to build the community that we need alongside our immigrant neighbors, because together we know that the only secure community is an organized community. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will pass it over to Gustavo to close us out.
Thank you, Felicia. I'm going to keep it brief because we are now a little over time. We have up the QR code to organize with New York City DSA's Immigrant Justice Working Group. If you are in the city, we've had a number of different calls to action to join the movement in other ways. The capitalist class has designed our political system and our world for us to feel disempowered. It is so easy and frankly understandable to respond to our current moment with cynicism and pessimism. But we know that if we unite, we are more powerful than they are. We can win.
You're not.
We have seen cracks starting to form. We've seen.
No, you haven't.
That Chuck Schumer and some of the worst Democrats in the Senate are now saying, in response to mass movements, they're not going to fund ICE this week.
Oh, too bad. Yeah. Fuck them.
That's a step in the right direction, but we know that we can't just take their word at face value. We have to keep organizing because they will backslide. We've had so many ways to plug into the movement listed today. We're going to be sending an email to everyone who RSVP'd. We had well over 3,000 viewers, and we raised over $36,000 for the organizations in Twin Cities. Give yourself a round of applause. And we raised a few thousand for our candidates as well. Really, really pleased that we are showing how it's done. Solidarity, y'all.
Solidarity. What a fucking joke.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you in the streets.
I hope they round you assholes up.
All right, guys. That's it. That it was a 3 spy stream type of day, along with additional protest coverage that we did. Now, listen, I do know there is going to be a noise protest at the Hilton Hotel tonight. I was DMing with BC Preacher, and he said that he was going to try to go. I don't know if he's actually going to get there. But as of right now, it looks like there really isn't much going on in terms of protest coverage. Let me just check Lance's videos real quick and see if he's still at the ICE facility. He looks down too. Yeah, so there's just not really much going on in terms of the live stream right now. So I think here's what we're going to do, guys. Here's what we're going to do. It is 9 p.m., 9:05 to be exact. Jennifer is about to start movie night in the supporter Discord. We're going to watch Fried Green Tomatoes.
Okay, well, you have fun with that. Fried Green Tomatoes. Yeah, thank you for your work. We have infiltrated, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, boys and girls, adults of all ages. We have infiltrated the ICE, the anti-ICE terrorist communiques. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking around through the whole thing. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the recommendation to watch this. That'll do it, and I'll see you next time.